Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Online Academy with Aisha Fiaz. In today's video, we are going to discuss paper 1, question 2 in detail. We were working with the text A, nameless, which is from the specimen paper that Cambridge has put up on their website. And you will notice that I have not added any question over here, and that is simply because there are no questions related to this part of the passage. Question 2 focuses on the effect and attitude of the writer. For those of you who might not know what a redwood looks like, I've added just a couple of pictures for reference. Let's begin by doing question 2a. Read this extract from the text. He felt gravity go to zero. The world stopped. Mo watched the branch of the large redwood approach in slow motion and saw his fingers extend towards it. What does the writer want to suggest to us about the situation at this point in the story? Well, if you look at the part that's been shared, it's very obvious that the writer wants the reader to realize that it was a very critical situation in which Mo was. Okay, you can say that anything was possible and Mo could possibly get hurt. It was a dramatic situation, a dramatic moment. Or you can simply say that there was a high potential of disaster because Mo was risking himself. In the second part of question 2, we see explain why the writer uses the word stronger rather than strong in the expression a stronger branch. Students, you cannot simply say that the writer wants to show comparison. You need to explain this part a little. So if you were to write that the word stronger suggests that the branch that Mo had moved on to was strong but not strong enough, then it would be correct. Or you can simply write that despite landing on a new branch, Mo was still not safe. Or you could simply write that the branch Mo had landed on was weak and likely to break down. Then you can also write that the branches weren't really safe and they had the potential to break. So although it made his position safer, he was still at the risk of falling. Okay. Then what two impressions does the writer want to convey to the reader in the sentence? There was foliage everywhere, above, below, and on all sides, layer upon layer of leaves like tents within tents. If you look at it, it gives you the impression that Mo was completely surrounded by greenery, okay? And because he was in the middle of the leaf canopy, if you remember, you can also write that it gave him a sense of protection because if you read the part tents within tents, that's the impression it gives you of security. So Mo was within tents of leaves, or in fact don't copy that question part down. Just write it that he felt the sense of security. Okay, or you can simply write down that it was difficult to navigate the layers of leaves. Okay, every time he broke out of one space, he found himself in another space that was green. Okay, and I think that should give you the 2 marks required. If you read the fourth question, it says read this sentence from the text. Climbing upwards slowly and steadily through the labyrinth, Mo lost sight of the ground. What effect does the writer suggest about the tree by using the word labyrinth? So you need to explain this part completely. The word labyrinth, class, is actually a complex maze. So you could simply say, okay, it gives the impression that the tree is very complex, it is difficult to navigate it, it has a very disorienting structure. You could also say that Mo might feel as if he was on a classical quest, okay, or he was in another world altogether. It was difficult to navigate and it might be easy to get lost, right? So there wasn't a very clear way anyway. So these are again all the possible answers that you could write. Again, you need just 2 marks, so you just need to write 2 points really. If you write more points than 2, they will be checked, and I think the best ones are the ones that are going to get awarded. Now, question 2, part E. I've let it be over here because I couldn't really fit it on the previous page without, creating problems. But I want to give this question a little bit more time. It says over here, identify one example from the text below of how the writer uses language effectively to convey Mo's feelings after Mo has lost sight of the ground. It felt as if he was passing through a membrane and entering into another world. His senses were overwhelmed by an impression of life all around, flaky grey-green and brownish plants in all manner of shapes hung from branches, drippy, frizzy, stringy, and hairy. He began picking pieces off, tucking them into his pocket. As he neared the upper surface of the redwood canopy, the lacework of branches glowed with varied shades of green, and he broke out into the sunlight. Explain the impression the writer creates in the example you have identified. Now there are so many examples over here, and you have to just pick one. I'm going to try to discuss at least 4 to 5 of the examples that I could feel clear, like were very obvious. If you look at the first part, it felt as if he was passing through a membrane and entering in another world. Doesn't it give you the impression that he is actually moving through a barrier, all right, or breaking something, like as if he's moving out from one part into the other? So it was like, a rebirth, all right. So that's what happens when you break an egg. You break through a membrane and then you move out into another world. So you could simply write that it felt as if Mo was moving through a membrane, a cell wall, and it gives the impression of, like, him going on into another world or another life, right? Or as if he was hatching. Then you could also look at the part entering another world. Okay, so it could be that he has discovered something new, right? He has come out into another space. He during his explorations and adventure. You can also pick the words over here. If you look, his senses were overwhelmed. Look at this word here. That's a very, very strong word. So you could say that if Mo was for a moment unable to process all the different sensations. It felt as if he was, buried into a world of green. Okay, then if you look at this flaky gray green and brownish plants, this is something that I would have gone for. um you could say that there were murky colors or dull colors of unidentified vegetation that kept breaking away, and it was unfamiliar and unsettling. Okay, or you could go for drippy, frizzy, stringy, hairy. Okay, so you could say that there was foliage curling and moving around in all directions. It felt as if the vegetation was a mess all around. It was uncontrolled, and it gives you a very negative feeling, something that is dirty, something that is different. Or you could go for, let's say, uh, the lacework of branches as he neared the upper surface of the redwood canopy. The lacework of branches, again, this is a very interesting way of using language effectively, where you could simply say that, there was like, it seemed as if a lattice work had been created of the branches and they were beautiful. So these are all the possible answers. And thank you for watching.